Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm still sick, but that's no excuse when it comes to programming. So let me show what will work on today, maybe day after, because I don't think we can close that one in one episode. So I decided to step off from creating Epic Store games UI just for now and do something new. And what we'll create is that simple app. Uh, for one, we have a map that is grouping clusters of data and showing their position. Then we have possibility to search through here. Basically, you can think of it as some type of uh, poor man's Uber, where you have points changing their position dynamically in a periodical updates. With the data about the cars, as you can see, I believe, I don't know, I'm not really car expert, but you can see a Toyota or Nissan here, so definitely cars. Also, you can use that to search through here. So let's search for Toyotas, and we can see them here. You can also see periodical updates coming in, and these are coming through WebSockets, and we'll discuss why and how to do that. This is built using SocketIO and React Leaflet. So yeah, let's work on that and build our kind of Uber. Maybe you should call it something like Uber or Uber. I don't know. So let's get going. So I created server folder inside a Uber clone. Call it that for now. Folder. Before we start, I'm extremely sorry for any coughing during that video, but it is what it is. So naturally, we need few things to start our server. I'm going to start by oh, and also we'll write the server in simple JS. I mean plain vanilla JavaScript instead of TS, because I don't want to spend time fighting around any typing issues that we might overcome, that we might stumble upon. So let's add some stuff. And basically what we need is Express. For start, you probably know Express, or I hope you do, really well. Let's see. If you don't, well, that's basically the most popular, one of the most popular frameworks for web applications and servers. So let's start our server. That's going to be simply going to scripts, adding a start script. Then just do node app.js. I'm going to create a folder. Inside of it, I'm going to add app.js file. That's going to be it. I'm going to use required, or maybe let's see if that works with the imports out of the blue. So import Express from Express, and let's just create a server, right? So we need an app. And then we just need to well, create servers. So server is gonna be HTTP create server with an app. Of course, this comes from HTTP. Okay, and we just need to specify a port. I'm gonna say that's 8080. So it can be basically, let me just adjust camera, anything you want. Server listen on port, just server is running. Let's try that. I'm using YAR here. Let's see. Oh, it should be, of course, it should be this src app.js. Cannot use import outside of module. Well, okay, I can live with that. We can, or let me just check something. This is the latest node. Okay. Well, you're saying that's not a module, then it's not. Can work with require if needed. Of course, if we were to use something like Node.js, the imports would work automatically. Okay, so the server is running. That's the first step. What we really have to do, well, right now we have HTTP server, and that's really fine, but we need more. Well, we will be handling lots of data. I'm gonna assume 10,000 points, which is a little bit, right? You rarely display so much dynamically changed data on your map. But there are two approaches here. We could set up HTTP long polling, meaning our client would have to periodically ask the server, hey, are there any updates? Are there any updates? Did something change? But it's way better to just make server push the changes to the client, saying, well, here we go, that's the new data, update yourself, right? Way smarter. So for that, we need to have that two-way communication. We have to set up a WebSocket connection, and this can be done using standard WebSocket interface, but it can be abstracted away by using IO server, SocketIO, sorry. So I'm gonna add that. Let's add SocketIO. It's gonna be rather easy. Let's configure it. So SocketIO will come from SocketIO. Then we'll create IO server. As SocketIO, and here we have to pass our HTTP server, and then some configuration. So basically course settings, meaning that everyone interested can connect, and credentials are set to true. Okay, and then we have to specify what should happen in case of connection. So on connection, I believe it is. And then we have a socket. And then we can emit from a socket. for example, some kind of event can be emitted. Let's say initial data, and we're gonna just send something like data equal to empty array. Okay. Of course, I would have to restart. Nothing needs crashing, which is good. Okay. So this is our initial setup, right? So maybe now we should test it out. So I'm gonna go up, create a client directory into it, and then oops, and then I can't even remember. Create React app TypeScript. It's always slips my mind. Okay. Let's say, well, actually we should do this and change the name to client. I should take a minute. That will allow us to basically test the connection. So in case of a client, we'll have to add SocketIO 2. Well, maybe we could have added like as a shared dependency, but it doesn't matter. Go. Okay. We'll also need leaflet, maybe set components. We'll see. You can skip this part. Okay. Okay. So let me actually go up and reopen Visual Studio Code here. So now we have both client and server. So go to the client, and we will need SocketIO client. So this is actually a different package. Client. Damn, boy. Not what I really wanted. So okay, I can live with that. Not the perfect folder structure, but can live with that. Okay. So going to the app, first things first, I want to test my connection. It's the most important. So let me just create endpoint, and I know my server is running at HTTP localhost 8080. And we have to use effect to set up connection to the socket server and just run it. Okay, server is running. And this should happen only once, therefore empty array. And then I'm gonna create a socket SocketIO client, which should come from SocketIO client, is coming from SocketIO client. This part will be, of course, written in TypeScript. This should be good enough. And let's say socket on, and we did call it something like initial data. Okay, so on that event, now there's going to be a data. Let's log it. Okay, let's run it. Something running. Well, yeah. Oh, I know what it is. Run it. Okay, and let's see whether we are able to make the connection. And we have object with data empty. And if we reload and go to WebSocket part, you can see that there's a connection to our server. And then there's an empty data. Okay. So we have that done, and therefore we have set up the way to test our server data. I believe we should work on that. So instead of sending empty array here, I'm going to use a function, call it getData, and in our server, I'm going to create new file. Let's just call it data.js. Okay, and I would like to generate data about manufacturer and model of a car, and generate its fake position in an area described by x and y coordinates. Okay, so to create some kind of fake data, I find out that this faker library sorry, is working pretty well. Oh no, this is for looks like for Python. ReactJS is, yeah, okay, is what we want. There's a lots and lots of data that you can generate here. As you can see, address, animal, commerce company. We were looking for vehicle, right? Okay, so basically let's add that. Okay, let's require that. Let's set the data length to, as mentioned, 10,000. That's enough. And we will store our data simply in an object. We don't really need nothing fancy here. Oops. Camera adjustment time. We don't need anything really fancy here. And I'm going to create just spawn data function. And we're gonna use good old for loop. I'm not really a fan of these, but sometimes they do come in handy. Okay, so it's gonna be interesting. What do we need is to create some kind of UUID, means some kind of identifier. We could use something like UUID library, or maybe just using ID. But let's try and create our own solution for that. Create UUID function, and it's not so hard. Basically, you can find the solutions on the internet. That's just what I did. I would never bother to learn my own UUID solution. So as you can see, there are lots of solutions, and I'm gonna use that one. So there's a function, change that to const, change that to arrow function, change that to arrow function. Here we go. Fix that. And this is your solution for UUID right off the internet. Okay, so now under data UUID, we will provide the object. So this is gonna be a lookup table, right? So if you don't know what that is, right, you store the properties, right, under some kind of named key, because searching or extracting data from a lookup table is way faster than using some kind of algorithm to search through the array. Okay, so because we will have lots of data and we need to update it in an efficient way, that's why we will use the lookup table. Fix the camera just a little bit. Now it's fine. Okay, so let's see. Move that into the loop, of course, and then we have ID, it's UUID, and the name is basically like for data we'll use fake method, and here I'm gonna sell name of first name. So this is gonna be something like our driver, his name and his last name, vehicle, which is a vehicle name. Then there's a vehicle manufacturer, which is a long and complex word, and then there's a vehicle that model. So if I could maybe do something like that, and then I could do this. Okay, right, so that's our name that will display. And then there's a case of adding the position of given vehicle, which will be under long and left. And since I'm living in Gdańsk, I got the coordinates for Gdańsk, but basically you can go to Google Maps and or any other map service and input here the coordinates for your area or any part of the world that you'd like. So that's going to be a number, and I'm going to create helper function to choose random number from this coordinates equal to fixed for, okay, and random number is just a simple helper where you provide the mean and max, right? And you get the random value from that range. It's going to be math random times max minus minimum plus minimum, and you can check that pretty quickly. So if you call for a random number from 5 to 10, here you're getting, remember, here you're getting something from 0 to 1 times 5, right, plus 5. So basically that will give you any number from the range of 5 to 10. So that's a simple formula for a random number from a given range. And here again we're calling a random number 5, 4, 24, 5, 4, 59 to fixed. Okay, and that should generate our data. So I'm going to just create a simple getter function here. Okay, and that's all for now. What we'll have to make sure of is to fill our data, create our data before we start our app. So here we create our app. Here I'm going to call, let me just export this. How do you export? Oh, module export, right? Module exports, get data and spawn data. So spawn data. Okay, and this is get data. Okay, let's try that. Yarn start. And yeah, that's what happens when you're not running TypeScript, right? And then we have that already. Okay, get data is not defined. That would be true. So we have to require that, of course. Get data. Okay. Okay, server is running. So let's try that. Again, we can already see our data coming in, and there's gonna be a lot of entries, right? And it is almost making my computer freeze, even with the amount of RAM I am running. Let me reload. Should be available or shown right here. Can we like, okay, you know what? Maybe just for the purpose of showing that, let's limit that to 100 for now. But we'll bump it up, don't worry. Okay, so now what you see, there's the ID, latitude and longitude we use. I can see that this adding this new line info, which I don't really want, so just do it like that. And this is around half an hour, so we should be wrapping this up. Okay, now we have the name, the ID, latitude and longitude. And I'm gonna end that episode right here, and we'll start working on our client app, since we have a data right now, in the next episode. So I'm gonna see you right there. Goodbye.